Now here is our proper Stallone Judge Dredd movie. Right here.
Those were up, and they did.
More smarts, and my...
He told me enough.
No, I.
Here's Chuck.
Hey everyone, it's Don J. Corleone here, and I'm here with a brand new movie review. And this review is going to be for another Stallone flick. Remember, I reviewed another iconic Stallone flick in the same year as this one a few weeks ago or a month ago. And that's going to be for another film he did the same year as Cliffhanger. And it's for one where he teamed up with, actually, Wesley, where he faced off against Wesley Snipes, ironically. And it's directed by Marco Brambilla. And that is going to be for none other than 1993's Demolition Man. Yes, another iconically great Stallone flick from the 90s. So what's the plot of Demolition Man? Well, after Simon Phoenix was frozen in 1996, who was a convicted crime lord, he gets revived for a parole hearing well into the 21st century. He's revived to a society free from crime, and Phoenix resumes his murderous rampage, and no one's able to stop him now. Then John Spartan, a police officer that captured Phoenix in 1996, was also frozen, and this time for a crime he did not commit. Then all the way to 2032, the former cities Los Angeles, San Diego, Santa Barbara merged into the peaceful utopia San Angeles. Now, unable to stop him with their non-violent solutions, the police now had to release Spartan to help recapture Phoenix. And now, after 36 years, Spartan has to literally adapt himself to the future society he has no knowledge about to be able to capture Phoenix. Yeah. How was the movie made? Well, Peter Ledkoff wrote the original script for the movie, but retained a story by credit. The Ledkoff came to Hollywood straight out of college. He had no connections, but he had several different scripts, and he was trying to break into Hollywood. And then he sold a specific script of Demolition Man to Warner Brothers, and it was his first big break. Ledkoff was inspired by films like Lethal Weapon and wanted to do a movie about cops originally. He was influenced by stories of people being frozen and listening to the song from Sting called Demolition Man on repeat because his cassette player in his car was broken. His pitch got rejected by an executive because they did not understand the frozen cop idea. And the finished script where a super cop has to battle the world's saddest criminal generated more interest. And then a writer named Daniel Waters said apparently confirmed his version of the screenplay was a rewrite. He changed the script when the script went to adaptation, and he received for a screenplay writing credit. In the early drafts of the script for this regular action movie, they had no attempt at comedy, and Waters pitched it as his action movie version of Woody Allen's film Sleeper. Then Waters had this idea about a small part of Universal City, which was a shopping area called City Walk, and Waters said his intention was to have fun with the film, not trying to be political or deeply examine political correctness. And the conclusion of the film he cited where society would have to find a new balance and compromise was his own position in the political middle ground. Right there. So, anyway, eventually, after more production stuff, and after Demolition Man was shot and marketed, Demolition Man was going to be released in the United States on October 8th, 1993. And the reviews were more mixed from people. It earned a decent amount at the box office with $159 million, so it was still a successful film from Stallone. Now, as for my reaction to this movie, well, y'all remember, in 1995, there was a film about Judge Dredd called Judge Dredd, and it starred Stallone, and it literally fucking sucked. And it took us till 2012 to finally get a good adaptation of the character, and when he was played by Carl Urban. Well, this movie right here, this movie is way more of a proper Stallone Judge Dredd movie. I would say this or Cobra are the better adaptations for a Stallone Dredd movie. I guess you could say this could be like the spiritual sequel to Cobra. Yeah, a spiritual sequel to Cobra. There you go. I'd say this movie's like pretty much the same level of greatness Cobra is. Now that I'm speaking of Cobra, this film is very epic. It's very enjoyable. It's like It's kind of like crazy how this doesn't receive the highest amount of. This didn't receive the same level of success films like Cliffhanger or Rambo First Blood Part 2 did for Stallone box office films. In a way. Demolition Man is like one of the funniest, one of the most action-packed, and one of the most poignant social satires of the 90s. And it makes its points through extremely over-the-top, mindless action, tongue-in-cheek, purposely cheesy plot and dialogue. It's while we're trying to acclimate oneself to tell to the style if there's not like an action or sci-fi fan. And the satire really cuts deep. Like there's other films with similar aims like Total Recall, Starship Troopers. They're like those films are also just as good as Demolition Man. Right there. I'd say Total Recall is I would say I slightly prefer Total Recall more, but I do prefer Demolition Man over Starship Troopers. When you have the opening scene of the movie, the opening scene feels like this typical late 80s or early 90s action sequence. Then we realize that there's not going to be really a happy ending for the hostages that Spartan is trying to save. Then we arrive at the future, and a lot of viewers have to misjudge the performances of the principal cast besides Stallone Snipes, or Sandra Bullock. When you have Sandra Bullock as Lieutenant Linnea Huxley, or Benjamin Bratt as Alfredo Garcia, at first, it seems to be less bizarrely incompetent performances, but we realize that their performances are meant to be kind of incompetent as a spot on for the film's Brave New World. And it's this instantiation of more or less cultites run by Dr. Raymond Cocteau, in a way, and the director of the film, director Marco Brambilla, and his writing team, they skewer a lot of cultural norms as outright conventions. They have radio and television commercial jingles in the movie. They're definitely the musical art in the film's world. You have the strict morality that's enforced through constant computer monitoring of behavior combined with fines, which is constant kind of a running joke throughout the film. Is that apparently if you swear in that world, you get a fine. Pretty much. So you're not allowed to swear at all. So anyway, how do we start off the movie? Well, we open up in 1996. Where you see the criminal, our baddie of the film, Simon Phoenix, played by Wesley Snipes, who kidnaps a busload of hostages and takes refuge in an abandoned building. Then we have our lead sergeant named John Spartan, the Demolition Man, played by Sylvester Stallone. For the large amounts of collateral damage he often causes in suspects, mounts this unauthorized assault to capture Phoenix. So when a thermal scan of the area reveals that there's no trace of the hostages, he raises the building, confronts Phoenix, and sets off explosives to destroy it. And the hostages' corpses are then found in the rubble. And Phoenix claims that Spartan knew about them and attacked anyway. So both men are immediately arrested, detained, and are sentenced to lengthy terms in the city's new California Cerro Penitentiary, which is a prison that where convicts get frozen and exposed to rehabilitation techniques. And then we fast forward all the way to the future, which is now the city of San Angeles, which has now merged of Los Angeles, San Diego, Santa Barbara. That's pretty much this. It seems like this nice little utopia design that's run by another character named Dr. Raymond Cocteau. Phoenix is then thawed for a parole hearing, and he escapes from the Star prison by saying the secret password, even though he pretty much not even knowing how he learned it though. And he murders his guards and the warden, and he goes into the city and overpowers and kills several police officers. And that's pretty much hard for them because they never had to deal with a single violent crime in this world. Because this new San Angeles world, it's really crime-free. So how else are they going to know how to detain a person? When it comes to the cast, script, and the story itself, all these elements, they really come together to make what is easily one of the best action movies of the 90s. The movie has a few surprises. It's not above making fun of itself or the action movie genre. You have Dennis Leary making a performance in this movie that's definitely a very wonderful touch to the film. It's perfect addition to an action, definitely makes it a perfect addition to an action movie night or even an action collection on your shelf. There's plenty of humor in the movie and definitely a little comedy and pure action where the gunplay is delivered in perfect Stallone Snipe style whenever they're facing off each other. And you see lots of heavy automatic and explosive weapons and they're used very well in the movie. Stallone in this film uses handguns, which is this Remington shotgun, and that's really well shot when that happens. The film is filled with great classic moments here, and they're definitely well spaced throughout the entire film. The martial arts are also excellent. The cryo prison scenes are also terrific. There's terrific special effects for a 90s film, even, and art direction. Like, director Marco Brambilla did a great direction debut at what easily is one of the best Stallone flicks. It's an action film that really has a brain in its head and has something to say. Like, the vision of future is definitely original here and memorable, and definitely admirable as many of the things that are happening. Like, see here, like, some of these things have actually happened in the real world today. The Demolition Man shows what would happen if the politics would go too far with something like that, the stuff you see in this film. The reason why the action sequences are so great is because they're well done even for CGI effects. Like, they're practical and they're even real stunts. But you have Stallone with like 2 handguns named Beretta 92Fs, and it's jumping his 2 arms, they're shooting at Simon Phoenix. It's definitely a badass action scene right there. The cryo prison scene, that's also well done. Like, this future is quite a badass future where you have combined all 3 crime-ridden cities together. And you have San Angeles. It almost kind of rhymes with like San Andreas from Grand Theft Auto 5 in a way. Almost kind of like that. Except unlike San Andreas, which has fuck loads of crime, San Angeles is like, when we see start off the movie there, we see like little crime at all. The car chases are also very well done and dangerous. Like one scene has Phoenix stealing a squad car and he flees, and then Spartan and Huxley they have the antique Oldsmobile 442 and they're going after Phoenix. And during the chase, Phoenix tells Spartan that he had killed all the bus passengers in 1996. It's definitely a real practical action stunt done right there. And also, like, when it comes to which daytime of the scenes I prefer, honestly, I think the night scenes are easily the best bits of the film. Like, you're like one part you have Spartan grabbing Phoenix and throwing him out of the car. Like, he used judo to kick Phoenix out of the car. And Spartan's trying to stop the car, but he flies an SLPD structure. And our female lead, Lenina Huxley, who's this idealistic SAPD officer who is fascinated with like 20th century culture, and she learns about Spartan's career from Zachary Lamb, and suggests her best chance to stop Phoenix is literally enlisting someone with the experience and mindset needed to anticipate his actions. Because now they learned that Phoenix has escaped, and they have no other right cops to stop him. They only know that Spartan can be the only one to stop him. So Huxley persuades her superior, George Earl, to parole Spartan and reinstate him to active duty. So after he's thawed and freed from his frozen prison, Spartan then later sees life in San Angeles, and he finds life there to be sterile and oppressive because of behavior that's deemed immoral or unhealthy, like contact sports or tobacco, profanity, non-educational toys, or even sex. They're all declared illegal. And many members of the police department, like the general public, they view Spartan as just savage and uncivilized, but Huxley idolizes him. And since Spartan knows that Phoenix is going to have firearms secured, he has Huxley lead him to a museum and finds Phoenix that's literally looking at an exhibit of weapons. And to Spartan's surprise, Phoenix turns out to be even deadlier than before, because Phoenix then immediately escapes. He holds Cocteau at gunpoint, is unable to kill him though, because Cocteau has altered his rehabilitation program to prevent him from doing so. So Cocteau orders Phoenix to kill Edgar the friendly way. And later describes this resistance society that lives in the ruins of old Los Angeles. Instead of conforming to Cocteau's moral ideas, the direction by Marco Brambilla is outstanding. Brambilla is always moving the camera well with this movie and giving the film this great pace style look and doing an incredible job with the action scenes. And the musical score, Elliot Goldenthal does the musical score of this movie, and the musical score he does is terrific, it's stylish, and it's epic, and it matches the tone of the movie perfectly. Right there. You also have the great song Demolition Man by Sting that plays at the end to end the movie. And Hungarian science fiction writer Istvan Nemir, apparently, he said that most of the script was based on this novel he wrote in 1986 called Holtek Harka, which was basically about a terrorist and a soldier. They're frozen, and they're in a society that outlawed violence. Apparently, there's a conspiracy where this man was I haven't read that book, though, so I can't really say much about it. It's you even have some talented cameos here. Right here. Tons of small roles that are filled with actors, and many well-known actors around this time, or some that were just starting to get into fame. Like here, like you have Jack Black making a cameo, you have Rob Schneider ironically making a cameo, you have Jesse Ventura making a cameo. Originally, like before Wesley Snipes got cast in the role, originally it was going to be Jackie Chan playing the role of Simon Phoenix, but apparently back then Jackie didn't want to play bad guys, so when they were planning a sequel, especially like, I think they were also originally planning a sequel to this, but I think those talks died down. I hope that, honestly, I really hope they don't make a sequel to this in today's world. And the thing is, and when I say like, and yes, I have said, apparently in San Angeles it's illegal to swear, because, I'll elaborate more on that. Every time someone swears in public within voice distance, or whatever it is, that you can really hear some swear, you hear like the gag play out in the background, and like you get an automatic fine. And like it transforms from this joke to holy, it's like, oh no, that's definitely gonna suck. Like, yeah, they know not being able to swear at all in any world, and being illegal if you make one swear word, would definitely suck. It kind of like, it has that like joke mindset, and it works really well. Like, if you think about it, guys, Demolition Man kind of pokes fun at the George Orwell story, 1984, and halfway takes it seriously. And there's most movies that try to split things down the middle that just fail on both fronts, while this one really pulls it off and it makes it great. Like, the laughs of this movie don't come from ha-ha-ha-has, but rather from like biting satire and present predictions, and like where you have tracker chips or surveillance or cigarettes even being illegal. I hope that's not the world we end up living in. But yeah, it is kind of like a parody of George Orwell's 1984. Honestly, if this was how 1984 was done, maybe I'd actually like the story way more. Maybe I'd like that story more if 1984 was done like this movie. If it was done like the story of this movie anyways. Yes, I'm aware there's a film adaptation on 1984. I reviewed it 2 years ago, guys. I already know of its existence. Right? But yeah. Now anyway, guys. That being said, now we can pretty much get on with the finale of the movie right here. You're at the finale where Spartan and Huxley, they're witnessing the exchange on security cameras, and they review some cryo prison records. They discover that Phoenix's rehabilitation program got tailored by Cocteau, so he'd be more dangerous than he was in 1996. Phoenix program new program now has martial arts and computer hacking and torture techniques, and some other impulses that are murderous. Like, Spartan's program apparently taught him to knit and sew. And Huxley and Spartan deduced apparently that Friendly was being targeted for murder. And so Phoenix persuades Cocteau to release additional cryo prisoners. And Phoenix goes underground to assassinate Friendly. And he had encountered the scraps during his food raid at a restaurant. Spartan and Huxley venture underground, and they thwart an attempt on Freddy's life by Phoenix. And apparently turns out he tried to frame Spartan for the deaths of 1996 hostages, and they were already dead before the building exploded. So then after Phoenix escaped from the prison, Spartan goes down to get weapons from the scraps and pursues him. Right there, and then so they continue on their search for like Phoenix, and Phoenix then once again is unable to harm Cocteau, so he has the minion kill him instead, and then he thaws out the cryo prison's most dangerous convicts. And after Huxley gets incapacitated for his safety by Spartan then confronts and battles Phoenix himself. And then after a bit of a while, he finally kills Phoenix by freezing him solid with a vial of cryogen. And then Spartan himself barely escapes the uncontrolled quick freezing effect. And that triggers an effect, and it destroys the cryo prison. And then we meet the police again, and they were fearing that the loss of Cocteau in the cryo prison is going to end society. But then Spartan shows up and urges them and Scraps to work together and combine the best aspects of order with personal freedom. And so Huxley and Spartan kiss, and they depart together. And that's where Stain's Demolition Man song plays in the credits, and the movie's over right there. Yes, guys, that right there is pretty much the end of Demolition Man. It's not pretty much. Snipes and Stallone literally make the whole city their personal battleground, and they bring chaos and destruction like guns, explosives, explosions, punches. Like, it's all there, guys. It's definitely the kind you want from a 90s Stallone flick. It's all in this movie right here. Yeah. Demolition Man is definitely an enjoyably great flick. Now, with that being said, even though it is an enjoyably great flick, would I have a bad quality with the film? Alright, here's one. Now, may this guy rest in peace, but honestly, Nigel Hawthorne's performance just kind of felt phoned in. It just kind of felt like he didn't really want to be a star in the movie. Some lines are not really pursued as well, like there's little is made of Spartan's conditioning during his imprisonment, like the knitting, and unlike Phoenix's like new stuff, which was the strength, the torture, the martial arts, the weaponry, the technology, like more could have been done with that stuff. Like they didn't really do much more with Spartan's new programming. They felt like they did way more with Phoenix's. There could have been more laughs in that subplot as well. Like why not include a subplot about like, also, they introduced a subplot about Spartan's daughter, and it just kind of goes nowhere. So it was really a pointless subplot. You really did not need to have that subplot, really. Like, I did never see a point in including a subplot in a movie if you're just not gonna make a payoff. But honestly, those would be it for me, because Demolition Man, it's definitely a terrific, fun masterpiece in every single way. And I definitely would recommend that people watch it, if they're massive fans of 90s Stallone. So in the end, Demolition Man, it's totally worth buying for action movie fans that really hated the actual Stallone Judge Dredd movie and want to see a somewhat better version of it that could have been a terrific version. Anyways, guys, that's it for my view of Demolition Man, and if you're wondering how I'm going to rate Demolition Man, here's how I'm going to rate this movie. So overall, if you are a Stallone fan and wish that he got to do a better Judge Dredd movie, you somewhat will get exactly that with this movie, so I would totally watch it by Demolition Man for your collection, no doubt. And if you're wondering how I'm going to rank Demolition Man, I'm going to give Demolition Man a 9.5 out of 10. There we go, guys. That wraps up my review for Demolition Man. So, what's our next rewatch series going to be? Well, luckily, because a new Legacy sequel came out that apparently people have said they decently tolerated or liked, our next series we're going to do. Yes, these will be the next 3 reviews. I'm probably going to rewatch the first film tomorrow. I still haven't watched the 2 sequels yet. I've only seen the first one of this series, so rewatch the first film and I'll watch the sequels this weekend so I can watch XLF on Netflix. But yeah, that's going to be our next 3 reviews that I'm going to be doing. I'll just put Demolition Man back right next to Hard Targets. Even better spot. But, and I want to announce something before I end this video. You know, every summer I always go up north. Well, guess what? Yeah, it's happening again this year. And the day I go up north is August 9th to 17th. So I wanted to point that out. That I'll be away August 9th to August 17th. So you definitely won't be seeing videos that week. Well, I may brainstorm some ideas for Halloween Horror Movie Reviews 5. That might be about it, though. Well, that's all then, guys. That'll be it for this review. Thank you all for watching. And if you like this and want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.